And we are live. Welcome, Crypto Warriors, to the Gentlemen of Crypto, episode 837. Today is Tuesday, November 16th, 2021, and I'm your host, Bitcoin Zay, coming live from beautiful Miami Beach, here to bridge the gap between cryptocurrency and the community, Monday through Friday at 10-ish. And I have some great news stories for you today, starting with our top story. China warns state-owned enterprises to cease involvement in Bitcoin mining. Israel reportedly adopts new AML rules for crypto. President Biden signs infrastructure bill into law, mandating broker reporting requirements. And last but not least, DeFi traders cry foul after only 0.015% of active Paraswap wallets receive PSP tokens. And first, let's get into our prices for today. Bitcoin today sitting at $60,775, down 6% today. Ethereum at $4,282, down 9% today. Binance Coin sitting at $585, down 9% today as well. Solana coming in at number 5, $223, down 8.6% today. Cardano at 190, down 8% today. XRP at 110 is down 8.5% today as well. Polkadot coming in at 41.32, down 12% today. And last but not least, good old Doggy Coin at 24 cents is down 8% today. So we're seeing a lot of blood in the markets, a lot of blood in the streets today, which I love it. I love the ability for people to see that this market can take on you overnight. And if you are one of those people who are day-to-day traders, or if you're trading short-term, this is what you have to deal with. But for the most part, most of these coins are up for the year, up for the past few months. So nothing really to worry about. And I'm kind of glad Bitcoin took this dump. People were getting too confident. I think we were getting to a point where people were basically saying like, yeah, it's a definite that I'm going to be able to make a bunch of money because it's going to go past the all-time high. This is the easiest trade ever. And then what happens overnight? You get slapped around by the prices and by over-leveraged traders. And again, so a few things that have happened in the news may be a part of that. So before we start, let's jump into some of our comments for today. So shout out to everybody who's joining in. Go Remy. Good morning, Patrick Walker. What up, though? Ali Pio, nice weather we're having. Oh yeah, we out out in the beach background. Good morning to Credit K, Jarvis Hodges, Jerron, Banger Committee, Kadeem, Wendy, Kevin Stewart, Mrs. JL, Timothy Grigsby, TSG Bitcoin, STL Solo, DM Carr, Jarvis Hodges, Wendy Nichols, Eric Horton. Make sure you hit that like button. Appreciate you, Kevin Stewart. Zay, let's go to Slate this weekend for Cam first home game. Cam Newton. I was gonna say I'm not in Charlotte, brother. Like I said, I'm in Miami Beach. Kadeem K, Rico, Blockchain Bully, Jerron Purtle. Has anyone heard of Black Coin? I heard of an old Black Coin. I don't know if it's the same one as now. Good morning. Good morning. Green hat, green screen, red candles. Let's see. Alapio smacked by realizations. Oh yeah, absolutely. KBF, wish I could rock a hat like that, Zay. Yeah, get it from believeinthecoin.com. You can get it there. Get your crypto veteran hat. Even if you're not a veteran yet, just put it on there as a reminder of where you want to be. So shout out to everybody. And a big shout out before I start. Shout out to Wendy in the chat. Wendy, we've been working together the past few days to get some stuff going in Miami. Very knowledgeable in the space. One of the hardest workers definitely in the area. So shout out to Wendy. She'll be definitely assisting me once I move down to Miami, once we get the plan going for Bitcoin and Miami Coin. Shout out to her. Last night, actually got to see Hester Pierce, who calls herself Crypto Mom. Hester Pierce was answering questions at a crypto media meetup here in Miami. A lot of good questions. It was one asshole, of course, who went on and on about whatever. But for the most part, great questions, great event. Shout out to Leia, who was the interviewer there. So a lot of people who don't know about Hester Pierce or do know about Hester Pierce, a few things I found out last night. For one, she can't even buy crypto legally. That's one thing because of her job. For two, a lot of the rules that people want to be passed, she can't even really pass them because she's a commissioner. She's not the head of the SEC or the chairman, I should say, like Gary Gensler. So a few little nuggets there. So even though she calls herself Crypto Mom, shout out to her for trying, but it's not much she can do. And I think people are starting to realize we have way more power than we realize. Honestly, I've been telling everybody, all of our warriors, I've been telling you that for years. You have way more power than you realize once you get into these streets and you see how people talk about crypto, people operate the space, way more knowledgeable than people will give you credit for. So Just make sure you remember that. And let's jump into our first story for today. Good old China. Oh man, China always up to no good. Warns state-owned enterprises to cease involvement in Bitcoin mining. It's considering imposing harsh penalties on state-owned firms that continue mining cryptocurrencies. It's pressuring its own state-owned businesses to cease mining cryptocurrencies after the ban from before, and they're considering harsh penalties on the firm that continue, including higher energy expenses. So, according to reports, a spokesperson for the National Development and Reform Commission said at a press conference that as China's top economic planner, they intend to regulate industrial-scale Bitcoin mining and any involvement by state business in the activity. The Chinese government, if we slide down here, they've taken a harsh stance against Bitcoin miners in 2021, blaming us, or blaming them, I should say, from everything from energy waste to deadly coal mining accidents as the country strives to fulfill its carbon neutral goals. The increased crackdown on miners, according to sources, was prompted by worries over the country's power supplies for the winter season, which again, that's probably fabricated because they've been mining in China for years and there was never any talk about power supplies for the winter season. They just made that up. And of course, we all know that Bitcoin mining actually incentivizes renewable energy so that you get more efficient mining, therefore having a better chance of getting Bitcoin, which again is the opposite of what China is doing here. As reported by Cointelegraph, China dismissed a former government official for breaching national standards after he was discovered mining digital currencies, according to the Central Commission for Discipline Inspections statement on Monday. He was accused of abusing his power to promote and support businesses engaged in digital currency mining. So even I always say, whenever you have government officials who involve themselves in something, it must be valuable because they involve themselves in things like gold, oil, war, things that make a lot of money. They involve themselves in that. And now Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is one of the biggest things that government officials can get caught with at this point. And I think there's more than just him that are involved. So China back at it again. I think that price drop may have been artificial. Every time China puts out news, there's a huge deadly drop and everybody's scared out of it. You know, I've seen somebody talk about we're going back to 40K, 30K. I've seen people say we'll sit at this level for the next 2 months. Whatever people think, it is what it is. But this China news usually is some bullshit. And by Thursday, we'll be back on the bull run that we've started before. So let's take a look at some of our comments so far. Let's see, Milto, hey, Professor Zay, what's up? Saber says, good morning, too much for you. Blessed Tree, Saber says, let's take it back to 30K. I wish. I don't know if we're going back there, but 30K would be great, 50% discount from where we are now. And I would definitely be putting up as much money as possible. Let's see, Go Remy, question for the chat. Anyone using a hard wallet with the Hero desktop app? I was able to transfer MIA coin from OKCoin to that wallet, but it doesn't give me the option to send it back. Will they fix it? Hero Wallet is very new, and the ability to send it back may not be available. However, the main thing I'm telling you is to get these apps, get the OKCoin exchange, get those wallets simply so that you can be in position to win as Miami Coin becomes more popular, as people can mine it and earn stacks as well as Bitcoin. So Leon Champagne, China is fighting with Australia over coal. They no longer have the capacity to generate the power they need, so they're going after the miners. Exactly. This is very fabricated. And I can tell you right now, there is not one single person that I know in the Bitcoin industry that actually thinks China is doing this just because of Bitcoin. No, they have their own problems and they're looking for someone to blame. The easy scapegoat is Bitcoiners because people don't know about us. People think there's still some illegal, nefarious activity, so they can get away with that. Let's see, DJ, by the way, listen to Breakfast Club with Earn Your Leisure. Y'all ready to be there? I don't feel comfortable with them talking Bitcoin in Nigeria. Yeah, they did a great job on Breakfast Club, discussed, their different aspects. Again, the whole being on Breakfast Club, being on Earn Your Leisure, being on some of the bigger sites, not really my main concern. It is just a little bit curious as to why, if they were looking for Black people in Bitcoin, somehow they didn't find me or anybody from the Black Bitcoin Billionaires, biggest group in the world on one of the blackest apps in the world, Clubhouse. It just seems pretty weird, but again, that's not my main thing. We got our own warriors. We got our own show, multiple shows actually, and we got our own stuff going on. So all good. Let's see, Satoshi Slim, the gentleman of crypto, Zay, Unstoppable Domains now has Polygon as layer 2. So minting domain names are now gas free. Nothing is that cut and dry. What's the downside of trade off here? If you know, well, with Polygon as a layer 2 option, it is supposed to make most trading and minting anything, either gas free or very cheaper for gas. So that is what's supposed to solve the gas fees of Ethereum. So I would say it seems too good to be true, but I just think it's because you have to use Polygon instead of it being on layer one. Let's see, Finn working with Lynn Ulbrich to get a billboard during the BTC conference in Miami 22. We have two good options on I-395 and I-195, fun and secure. But if you know how to help, how to get a discount, it would be help. All right, well, I'll talk with some people in the city of Miami, see what we can come up with. Can't promise anything, but I can tell you right now, it's gonna be hard getting space for the conference. You are starting early, I give you that, but it's gonna be hard getting space for the conference because that is gonna be huge this year. Let's see, shout out to Real Talk for the donation. Are you familiar with Guapcoin? If so, any opinion on its offerings? Thanks. Yes, familiar with it, familiar with the creator and people that use it. It's a coin that was built to help Black small businesses. Noble strategy and noble vision. And I think if you want to be involved with Guapcoin, that's good for you as far as trying to support Black businesses. So definitely do your research and make sure you understand proof of stake and mining, or masternodes, I should say, for Guapcoin. Let's see who else we got. P-Man Van, good morning, family. Mars Netter with the $5 tip. We need you at the Bitcoin brunch in Miami instead of the Breakfast Club. Yeah, wherever that Bitcoin brunch is, let me know, Mars Netter. I can probably slide through. I've been all over Miami, just slide through people's events. And people show up and they're like, oh man, I didn't know you were coming through. It's like, man, I'm everywhere. I'm in these streets, always have been. I like seeing stuff in person. So just let me know where that is. I'll probably be there. So jump into our next story for the day. Israel reportedly adopts new AML rules for crypto. So the Israeli government is now reportedly in the process of reviewing several crypto firms to issue operating licenses. They reportedly enacted new regulations related to the crypto industry in order to combat illegal activities such as money laundering and terrorism finance. I mean, good gracious, if this isn't the most cookie cutter fucking statement, every single government uses this. Every single news article I've seen where they describe regulation is money laundering and terrorism. And then when you look at the facts, less than 1% of Bitcoin transactions have been found to be illicit. And I would say probably even less than that number, depending on what they determine as illicit. So the government of Israel enforced new anti-money laundering regulations on Sunday, requiring local fintech companies and virtual currency service providers, VASP, to obtain an operating license. And this comes from the Israel Securities Authority, the Capital Markets Insurance and Savings Authority, which is their financial regulator. They're in the process of reviewing these VASPs that have been applied for such a license. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later with the Joe Biden story. But you have to understand that these laws were literally created because VASP, virtual assets, service providers, is a new term. It's like CBDC. They started pushing it out with different articles, just like CBDC in 2018. We kept telling people, there's a reason why this is mentioned 12 times in one article. They're going to program you to understand that this is what's coming. VASP in Israel, not too far away from moving into America, where you will have to, even my grandmother would have to register as a virtual asset service provider, depending on how she uses her money. And I do not want this to get conflated with the cryptocurrency bill, which is something else. But again, this is a big step for Israel. And in other countries, this will actually be enacted, I believe, because they keep putting it on every single article. Virtual asset service provider is something that pretty much anybody who has a Bitcoin business will have to register as, or who accepts Bitcoin as payment. That's going to be a problem because if you, the individual, have $100, you buy $100 worth of Bitcoin, that person who gives you that Bitcoin is now considered a virtual asset service provider by the terms of what they put it. Now, hopefully that can change. Hopefully we can get some senators to drop that because that is some bullshit. But that is what we have now in Israel. It's probably just the first iteration of this happening. And of course, like we said before, CBDCs. In the meantime, Israel's central bank has been experimenting with its own digital currency. They don't say. As previously reported, the Bank of Israel issued a central bank digital currency through a pilot test of the digital shekel as of June 2021. So there will be digital ruble, digital shekel, digital dollar, digital whatever the fuck. All of it is coming from governments, and you already know what that means. That means more surveillance, more intrusion into your data and how you spend your money. And most of these egregious rules are just for the fact that our country's economy is probably going in the tank, and they're trying to put things in place now to make sure they have that oversight. So at least they're trying to be ahead of the game, but it's still egregious at this point. Let's take a look at some of our comments for today. Let's see. We got DJ with the $5 tip. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, King and the Warriors. Thank you so much for the support. And yes, make sure you hit that like button. We are only at 117 likes. We got 219 people watching right now. If I got to break out singing, I didn't get rid of singing. I just didn't have my mic with me. We're going to have to bust out some tunes. We got to get these likes up, people. Let's see. JG Wentworth, man, I hope nobody listened to me yesterday on Lil Baby Ape Club. Craziest 24 hours in NFTs. Yeah, I think I heard something about that. People getting blasted by prices. Yeah, NFTs, just like anything else, are speculative. Don't think you are going to get an NFTs and be rich overnight. Very hard to overcome some of the scams in it. So in the space, local Texas is a crypto state. I just came back from the Texas Blockchain Council meeting last week. Yep, shout out to Texas, Miami. We're all trying to make it a crypto state, or I would just say Bitcoin capital of the world. Definitely, so we can have a safe haven for Bitcoiners like yourself. Chappie, shout out to you. Finished your book yesterday. Nice, quick read. Now to get my wife to read it. Absolutely. This is what I explain to people. The book is meant to be read in one day. So you can stop bullshitting like you do with most books. You read it over the course of 6 months or a year. By that time, you missed it. Like, you missed all of the information in between. Crypto moves very fast. So the book was written for you to be able to read it in one day or one sitting, I should say, and maybe a weekend. Get through it, read what you need to read, take what you want out of it, and then research it for yourself. So I appreciate that, Chappie. Let's see. Anthony Levy in NY State can't access OKCoin. Just wait or any advice. New York is fucking trash when it comes to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Everything is banned and nothing is allowed there. I think OKCoin may be working on a license, but unfortunately, you can't really do anything about New York stopping OKCoin from allowing it to sell. I think Louisiana, somebody else said as well. So hopefully more exchanges pick up Miami Coin, New York Coin, but get Stacks. You can access Stacks via Binance and Qcoin. So if you get Stacks, you still have the ability to mine Miami Coin using Stacks. And again, those tutorial videos, there's a couple on YouTube, they're okay. But my own personal ones that are getting produced by the city, they'll be out very soon. So Finn, thanks, man. The slots for these two are still open, so I might get lucky, fingers crossed. Oh yeah, shout out to you. Let's see, Mr. Jalen, hey, that's how we all need to be. I'm gonna get my bread up and do the same, absolutely. Let's see. Jermaine Willis, please explain what the Miami Coin memo is. Miami Coin memo is I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Are you talking about the actual writing about it on the website where they actually talk about what's up with Miami Coin and the treasury amount? That is one aspect of the plan. So if that's what you're referring to, all that does is give you updates on Miami Coin, how it's working, and what we can do in order to make this city and this surrounding areas great. So let's see, Milto, crypto always being framed to cover fiat culprits. Exactly. Let's see, somebody said you may have to start singing that. Yeah, these likes are terrible right now, but they are increasing as we speak. So let's get it. JP, hedge fund short the hell out of Bitcoin because of Mt. Cox refunding 140,000 Bitcoin on the 20th, plus FUD to drive the market down so they don't have to dump as much Bitcoin as they would when the rebalance books in December. So yeah, I've heard of the Mt. Gox refunding coming. A lot of people are going to get it in sale. That may be them front running the drop in price. So let's see. Are we doing the Friday night show this week? Probably not. We wanted to be in the same place, so we may not be able to do it this week, but we'll announce when we do it. Let's see. Kay Linder, say what's up? What's the best way to get in touch to discuss trying to develop a City Coin? City Coins. Talk to Patrick if you can, the CEO of City Coins. I'll put that in the chat here. And also anybody from Stacks as well. That's the smart contract where it is actually created and pushed out. So any city can actually get City Coin in America right now. NY City Coin just launched. Miami Coin's been out. San Francisco Coin is coming soon. There's other cities that I've already talked to personally that are trying to do the same thing. They're just trying to figure out the strategy, which is where I come in. Let's see. What wallet should a beginner start with to invest in Bitcoin? Start with what you already got, probably Cash App. That's the easiest way to get it. And if you want a desktop solution, the cheapest way is Swan Bitcoin. You can actually dollar cost average over time, set it and forget it, and you don't have to worry about it. All right, so let's jump into good old President Biden. Let's go, Brandon. He signed a infrastructure bill into law mandating broker reporting requirements. Oh yeah, let's go, Brandon. Crypto was absent from every speaker's lips during the signing ceremony with bipartisanship and jobs. seeming to be the theme of the afternoon. Of course, nobody mentioned crypto. I think it's starting to be one of those things where they say, well, if we don't talk about it, they'll just go away. No, we're not going anywhere. The cyber hornets are here, and we're here to stay. We're not going anywhere. But I think they just didn't want to talk about it, so nobody would mention it, which is ridiculous. But here, after months of scrutiny from both the United States Senate and House of Representatives, the infrastructure bill, criticized by many crypto advocates, is now officially the law of the land. He signed this $1 trillion infrastructure bill before an audience of reporters, lawmakers, and union workers. And while the bipartisan legislation is aimed at providing funds for roads, bridges, internet access, solar panels, yada, 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 lawmakers included language applicable to cryptocurrencies. We talked about this before. The bill was passed to implement tighter rules on businesses handling cryptocurrencies and expand the reporting for brokers. The bill mandates that going forward, and make sure you pay attention, people, because this goes into approval in the next 3 years in 2024. The bill mandates that going forward, digital asset transactions more than 10,000 be reported to the IRS. A group of senators originally proposed an amendment to the bill that would have clarified the crypto tax reporting requirements, but it failed to get approval in August. I believe Senator Loomis was on that. I believe Senator Paul was on that proposal. But again, this is what they want. Anything over 10,000, you have to report to the IRS in cryptocurrency. However, the problem that they're going to have is it's a game of whack-a-mole. They passed this bill, infrastructure bill was created. Look when it goes into effect. It's scheduled to go into effect 2024. That means you got 2 years of doing over $10,000 in transactions before they can start enforcing it. So by the time they get to it, the money's been moved around. I think the value of Bitcoin will be so high that nobody really will care about this bill actually until they start taking exchange owners to jail, basically. But I don't see that necessarily happening. Maybe decentralized exchanges, not very decentralized in my opinion, but we'll talk about Paraswap, hint, hint. Not very decentralized in my view, but it's just more of the same. More regulators sticking their nose where it doesn't matter. And again, they're going to make it about jobs. They're going to make it about putting this money into the economy. You all, let's look a year from now and see if this $1 trillion actually affects your life. I can almost guarantee you this is $1 trillion is not shit actually in the grand scheme of things when we are 20 something trillion supposedly in debt. And the cost of doing business for most of this stuff is way more than $1 trillion. This is just throwing out little peanuts, little snacks to keep people, keep them silent. I mean, at this point, we can't even say it's not really bribery at this point. Like, yeah, we're gonna give you this little bullshit bill, and I'm gonna look like a hero because this infrastructure bill is supposed to help. All right, man, whatever, Brandon, do what you want to do. But yeah, these pictures, I always hate these pictures right here. It's a bunch of people none of us fucking know, none of us voted for, clapping for him to sign a bill that's going to affect us all. Not my idea of freedom. And again, they're cheering on Brandon here to sign this bill, which it probably took him a few minutes because he has a very shaky hand. He's getting a little up there in age. So hopefully he signed his name and not somebody else's. But shout out to Brandon for signing this bill because it gives us more fuel for the fire. This is the fight we need, people. If people understand what we're going through, this is necessary. We have to go through this fight. This was always coming. You're always going to have intrusion from governments. And one thing that I brought up with Wendy last night when we were at the Crypto Connect event was when Hester Pierce was speaking, I didn't get the chance to ask the question, but I wanted to ask her, if you are actually trying to help us become more decentralized, are you willing to lose your job? Is that what your goal is? Because honestly, if you're a government regulator and you're trying to make things decentralized and less government intrusion, you're basically working so that you don't have a job one day as a regulator. And that is something I think they have to come to terms with because I don't think that's what they want. I don't think they want to not have a job. They want to regulate everything into the ground or at least have some say-so over it. When in reality, your word doesn't mean anything. I'm telling you, when the first few trillionaire Bitcoiners come and they have their own basic either citadels or communities and towns and they're making their own rules, and a lot of the stuff they try to enforce, people are just going to be like, no, we have way too much money. We'll leave the country. And you do not want that in America. So let's look at some of our comments for today before we keep on going. Let's see. Alipio, I think when you try to send MIA, ask for a memo, I left it blank and transaction still went through. Oh, yeah, you don't have to put a memo on the transaction. You can if you want, but you don't have to. Yeah, let's go, Brandon. My man, Brandon, good old Joe Brandon. So what Zaya saying there is time, yes. 2 2024 is when it goes into action. That's why bureaucracy does not work, because even if they put in rules, it takes years for it to be implemented, and you might have new senators who want to change it or new House of Representatives that want to oppose it. So it's literally just a game of whack-a-mole, them trying to figure out how they can regulate things into the ground. Let's see, Alec Pio, he signed Brandon on the bill. Yeah, it would be hilarious if he signed Brandon. If I was him, I would just go with it. I don't know why they're embarrassed to saying it. After that Let's Go Brandon stuff came out, I would just rock with it. I would call myself Brandon and everything. But whatever. Milto, the infrastructure will affect prices at the grocery store. That's about it. Exactly. I mean, it's not an end-all be-all solution. If there was one solution, it wouldn't be implemented by your government. I can tell you that. They are not working in your best interest. They're working in their best interest, and they give you enough to not challenge it. This is considered enough right here. So let's see. Local Texas always found it interesting that Bitcoin was created and based on science, math, and statistics, and the COVID vaccine was created and based on science, math, and statistics. Yeah, yeah, you're exactly right. The difference is Bitcoin is completely auditable and transparent, and this vaccine so far has not been. So that's the big difference. And cryptography plays a big part in that as well. Let's see, JG Wentworth, Dems taking an L in 2022 and 2024. Don't let the Republicans legalize weed federally and it's game over. We ain't going back to the Dems ever. That's funny you say that. I tell people, you know, I'm not a political person, so to say. I don't really rock with either side. I'm an individual. So, but what I will say is sitting back and watching from a competition standpoint, this is what I'll say. Whoever is on the side of Bitcoin is going to win big. Right now, it seems mostly Republicans. Shout out to my man, Matthew Deemer out in Ohio. It's another mayor of a city. They're Democrats, but for the most part, I've seen most Republicans. So they're on the Bitcoin side. Second thing is they're more on the freedom side. If you look at Texas, you look at Florida, the whole vaccine and COVID passport thing didn't even come up. Both of their governors were like, no, you can't do that with businesses. You can't ask people their medical status. So they're actually more free. And Miami is actually #1 in recovery for COVID. So that's another thing, in a notch on their belt. The third thing is if they have a diverse, either Black, Latino, woman, if they have a representative from any diverse background that goes Republican and they legalize weed, I've said the same thing. That is literally the only thing standing between them winning every election from here on out and Democrats. Because at this point, I think people are tired of Brandon and the whole Democrat show. He promised a lot of groups, a lot of stuff. Only came through for a couple of them. Not gonna name the groups who did get benefits, but it damn sure ain't Black people. So the Republicans at this point, if I was a strategist, I would say, hey, let's just legalize weed, or at least say we're going to legalize weed. You don't really have to do it. You can just say it's coming and people will vote for you. And they'll probably win every election from here on out. That's pretty much it. And I think some of their abortion laws may be a bit egregious to some people, but I think that is something that's small enough that they can overlook it if that's how they really feel. Just from the outside looking in, it just looks like it's not looking good for Dems. Y'all gonna have to get on something. It's either Bitcoin, y'all have to stop talking about this clean energy bullshit, stop all the virtue signaling and all the social stuff that doesn't really mean much in the real world. So yeah, if they clean that up, they may have a shot, but I'm just back watching. I'm like George Carlin. I'm an observer. I like to watch the game and see other people play it, but just from observing, you are right there. Let's see. Somebody said, what is the ticker for Miami coin? It's Miami, MIA. Oh yeah, PFC Wells. Bro, you know, that's not their goal. She's positioned for the gang exit. Oh yeah, you know it. Let's see. Crypto Chief, let me know when you guys set up Gentlemen of Crypto Town. I'm moving in. Oh yeah, Gentlemen of Crypto Town coming soon. Definitely want to at least have like an embassy or something. Let's see. Logo, Texas. Maha, you're such a political person, Zay. No, I'm actually not. I've never voted in my life, except locally, and I don't even look at the party when I vote for people. I don't even look at who's running per se. I just look at what their platform is and then choose that person. So I'm not political at all. Again, never voted in a national thing. Don't really care who gets elected. My phrase on voting or a political process is somebody got rich no matter who was president. Be that person. That is my view on politics. But you would be disingenuous to say that it doesn't matter at all. It does matter to some extent. You just got to watch what people are doing, and I live accordingly based on that. But yeah, I'm not. You don't know me, Loco, obviously. Anybody knows me in person, people start talking politics, I'll get up and leave. I don't like going back and forth with people because I don't give a shit about that. J.E. Walter, I'm late to the show. Did you cover how a few other platforms by tackling the trilemma. I didn't see how it did anything Taproot Lightning Network didn't already do. Again, if that's a nod to Bitcoin as far as the development, I'm with you there. Because honestly, there isn't really any coins that are doing anything Bitcoin can't do. It's just the tortoise versus the hare. Do you want to go really fast and then rest on your laurels because you made a bunch of money? Or do you want to move slow and deliberately and make sure that everything that is implemented works? And that's what Bitcoin is doing. So I'd rather be the tortoise than the hare, trust me. Let's see. Let's see. Talk that talk. Y'all been blocking all the way. A lot of the people need to read up on the history of the parties. Democrats are not the friends of folks of color. Republicans ain't perfect, but they're up front more often than not. Yeah, my experience, yeah, I would agree with that as well. Let's see, PFC Wells, clean energy plans is going to kill a number of small businesses a decade. It's not what people think. Yeah, it's more of a play to get government funding because you have green energy. I've even seen green NFTs. Like, get the fuck out of here. Are we so jaded to the point that you think you're going to save the environment with NFTs? Like, come on, man. And then even the whole climate change argument. They've been arguing this shit since the 70s and they ain't done anything about it, really, to change how things are. If they were going to change it, they would have changed it back then before I was born. So don't try and put it on me, born in 1989 and became an adult in 2007. Don't put it on me that I need to help change whatever is going on in the world. Yeah, no, you're not going to put that weight on my shoulders. That's for the boomers and the older people to decide. You all fucked up, not us. Let's see. T Breezy, different. This is just a different politic. All right, Jay Walter, your city, town, country, state elections are what affect us directly. Exactly. Local elections, they affect you way more than national ones do. I can tell you that right now. Maurice Thompson, what up, Zay? Is it worth it still putting money into an IRA or straight BTC, not asking for financial advice? Yeah, I'm not trying to give you financial advice. All I'm gonna say is look at what your IRA yields, look at what Bitcoin yields, make your decision from there. I would say personally, I took out my Roth IRA, took out all of that funding for retirement and bought Bitcoin in 2015. Best decision I ever made because all I did was look and say, this has the possibility of making me about 7% per year. Bitcoin is going to outdo that easily. I took the 20% hit because I said to myself, hey, Bitcoin only needs to go up 20% for this to be a good idea. Of course, it's gone up magnitudes of order more than that. So shout out to anybody who's trying to make that decision. Just look at your options. Look at what Bitcoin is doing. Look at what your IRA is doing. And I will say that at some point, your IRA will probably be denominated in Bitcoin. Just saying, maybe in the next 10 years or so. So make a decision from there, but you never want to jump all the way in with something you don't understand. So let's see, Loco, Texas, man, I'm the same as you. I don't look at political parties, I look at issues. Sometimes I'm conservative, sometimes I'm liberal. It's a lot of work, but people have to use their mind too. Exactly. Yeah, I don't choose sides because I don't agree with them completely. And I don't join groups just as a personal rule. I don't really join groups like that. I either start them or I watch from the outside looking in. And even when I start groups again, I don't get involved with the whole, this is what the group is, this is what it has to be. They evolve over time. So yeah, I'm not big on that. Ideas. What are your ideas? What are you actually going to do? Then we can talk about that. Your political part, I don't give a shit, man. Who cares what you voted? All of it is two wings of the same bird. You just got to understand what you have to do and able to fly. And then once you figure that out, you won't have any problems with politics. You probably will stop watching it on TV. I haven't watched a political show on TV in years. I don't know what's going on, quote unquote, so to say, in the political back and forth for some of the microaggressions and some of the, I don't even give a shit about that. I'm just looking at what are they actually doing? What have they done? Don't see much being done by them, so I don't pay attention much. I stay in the private sector, buddy. So yeah, fist bump to you as well. Jay Walter, thank you, man. It was meant to be a serious nod to Bitcoin. I didn't see how the innovations made anything better. Exactly, nothing really does. Wow, sounds like your shoulders just ain't big enough for it. Parabolic brap. I don't know what that means. JJ Wentworth say dropping knowledge right there. Appreciate it. Let's see, PFC Wells. Don't forget you can use self-directed IRAs and solo 401ks for tax reasons, not financial advice. Great. Yep, absolutely. Let's see, Parabolic brap. Damn, if the world had more Bitcoin, Zays wouldn't have more Bitcoin. Says wouldn't nothing get done. I don't want people to be like me. That's another thing. I'm an individual. So when people do what they do it usually with the mindset if everybody was like me, it would be great. I know we would probably have a fucked up country, fucked up a lot of stuff if it was just my ideas, simply because my idea of how things should be is based on me. I don't really have a lot of information about other people and their struggles and politics and international politics, geopolitics. I do have my base layer information and I understand how things work. And when you understand how to think and how things work, I don't really need to get into to helping everybody else. I help myself, and then that rubs off on people around me. So let's see. Rashu, following the money is the only politics I need. Exactly. If you know how to think, all you do whenever you see a story is who funded it, who wrote this story, where's the money coming from, what's the incentive. Humans are driven by incentive and greed. That pretty much just stick with that. So let's see. Jump into our last story for the day. I know a lot of people are pissed off, and I saw a lot of it on Twitter. DeFi traders cry foul after only 0.015% of active Paraswap wallets receive PSP tokens. Oh yeah, so airdrops are back in fashion as Paraswap drops 5,200 to 10,400 PSP tokens to active users, while also disqualifying airdrop hunters from gaming the system, if that's what they call it. So we had a recent 5-figure token drop from the ENS protocol, which we talked about, which kicked off a flurry of protocol engagements to get in on the next crypto stimulus check. And Paraswap is the most recent project to reward early adopters, despite their early October statement that they had no intention of conducting an airdrop. Here we are. The attempt to throw airdrop hunters was likely done to prevent crypto holders from trying to game the system by conducting a Sybil attack, which again, I keep telling people, if a company, mainstream media, if they tell you they're not going to do something, it's probably the opposite. My hit rate on that is like 90% over the last 10 years. So it's not right every time, but most of the time they're just trying to protect themselves. Unfortunately, Paraswap's attempt to weed out nefarious actors appears to have gone overboard, as it indicates that out of the 1.3 million addresses that interacted with the protocol, only 20,000 are eligible for the airdrop. And I've heard that if you are a US citizen, gone. If you have some sort of, I don't know, Bitcoin history or I'm sorry, crypto history that they don't like, gone, get up out of here. And the problem is a lot of people who wanted that airdrop, they're now stuck with the tokens that they needed in order to get that airdrop, and they can't get anything for it. So yeah, a little bit of a rug pull there. And of course here it says, despite the uproar, the qualification criteria caused, most recipients are staking their PSP for up to 643% APY. So the people who have PSP, they're basically fine. People who didn't get it were mad as hell. I can tell you right now on Twitter, they were cussing them out all night long. And I can tell you, for most people, if you get on something that is considered quote unquote decentralized, but they somehow can identify your IP address and what city you're from, what state you're from, what country you're from, or if you have to do KYC, AML, that's not decentralized, people. That is more decentralized than what we have, but it's not as decentralized as it should be. Remember, decentralization is on a scale. I think the closest thing to decentralization we have is Bitcoin, simply because anybody can run a node, and nodes are what determine the decentralization, not miners, nodes, because the vote on consensus comes from nodes, not from miners. Miners follow suit based on what nodes vote for. So a lot of people get that confused. They're like, oh, well, it's only like 10 big miners in the world. So they don't determine shit. Anytime there's a pull request in the code to upgrade it to something such as Taproot, what happens? Nodes have to upgrade in order to yes or no on that upgrade. And if you have a majority, you go with it. If you don't, you don't. And that's why I think the decentralization or decentralized protocols, they're all mostly a farce right now, because as soon as the SEC kicks the door in, they have a company to identify. They have people they can go after. As soon as they say, well, we can't do this in the US or we're in trouble, what happens? US people left out in the cold. So Paraswap, yeah, that rug pull was hilarious. Not because they necessarily ran off with the funds, but they basically made it where less than 1% of the people that are using it could get a token, so, or get this airdrop. So definitely not a good look for Paraswap. And let's look at some of our comments here before we head out. Let's see, PFC Wells. Oh, sorry, I already read that one. Joshua Richardson. You got so many folks making faking accounts in your name. Someone just follow me. I'm trying to get it to stop. IG is not doing a very good job of stopping it. I've tried to block and report everything I can, but it's way too many now. I just need my blue check and get it over with. Let's see. Rico San Diego, what's the lowest Bitcoin will get in the bear market? Usually if you go off of just basic fundamental or basic technical analysis, usually in a bear market, it returns back to the all-time high of the last thrust up. So if we go off of that, back to 20K. And that's, I mean, or back to 60K, sorry, depending on how far we go up. So if we go up to, say, let's say 250K on this bull run, you probably see drop back down to that 60K level. And that's usually what happens. Just like before we went to 60K, you saw the drop down. We went down to about 26, 29. That was around the previous all-time high. And that's usually what you have to go off of. That's the most liquidity pool, or the most liquidity you have in order for that price to bounce and then to return back to a bull market. So how long that will be, can't tell you. I don't think bull markets will last as long as they used to, or bear markets, I'm sorry, will last as long as they used to, because there's so much interest and people are buying the dip. But I will say it will scare out a lot of people who do not know what they're doing. So Side Hustle 247, interested in watching in this after watching your interview, His and Her Money Ordered the book, reading about Bitcoin to start with Cash App. Have you been wanting to start? Did not know how. Watched yesterday, started now. Oh yeah, absolutely. Glad to hear it. Let's give that a hand. I love to hear that. When people had no clue how something started, get the book, get some information, watch a interview, a podcast, and then now they're in the game. So appreciate that. Let's see. A few more comments before we get out of here. Milto, Professor say, I'm a white boomer. Been telling folks for years to get on crypto train. You can lead a boomer to crypto, but you can't make them buy. Oh yeah. And again, that's one thing about this industry. It's for everybody, but the people who are most likely to be in it are younger. So older people are less likely. They are a little bit slower. I understand it, but they don't have a choice. So even if you tell them about it and they kind of disregard it, they're not gonna have a choice at some point. And then if they are older and to the point where they want to leave money for their kids are gonna say, well, leave me Bitcoin instead, or leave me crypto. I would rather that. Once they start hearing that, I think it'll be very apparent what they can do with this industry. Hopefully it's not too late. Let's see, Satoshi Slim, my next laptop will be completely VPN, decentralized, new ID and all that, trying to be completely pseudo-anonymous. Yeah, you and me both. Absolutely. And let's see, I think one more comment before we get up out of here. Appreciate you all today. I believe I missed one from earlier from Fatima, but it's all good. Let's see, Dev Rocks, I ordered my Bitcoin in Black America book for my grandma. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Hopefully she enjoys it. And again, last comment of the day, RAZ, great show once again. Have a great day. And we'll definitely be back tomorrow for a hump day. Make sure you join in for the Gentleman of Crypto at 10 a.m. Make sure you get that masterclass. Thank you to everybody who's bought the book. If you're in Miami, find me on Twitter, send me a DM. We may be able to link up, running around the city, different meetings, going to different events, trying to meet everybody I can before I make my move to Miami so we can make this Bitcoin capital of the world. So shout out to everybody for watching today. I appreciate you all.